Hello. Um, Today I just want to talk about, some of my experiences with like mania and splitting. Um, More specifically, hypomania. When I'm talking about mania. So, the beginning of last summer, I first started showing signs of the beginning of my longest manic episode. Um, I wasn't taking my meds, I was smoking daily, I wasn't eating, all that good stuff. And it it fucked me up, and I did a lot of things I'm not proud of. I started spending a shit ton of money, some of the money that wasn't even mine. I was using the money to buy more drugs, just buying shit. I was sexually talking to strangers online, hypersexualizing myself. I was self-harming. I would, I'm not gonna even get into the details of that. But yeah, a lot of stuff that I'm not proud of. And in turn, it was like that for quite a few weeks. And in turn, I pretty much blew up my whole life, I guess. I don't know. My life at the time wasn't very eventful. It was very stagnant. But one of the good things I had was my relationship with my ex. And because of that, I broke his trust and his heart. So after I got dumped, it was a big wake-up call. I immediately tried finding a therapist. He helped, I suppose, for a few months, and then he just wasn't very good. He laughed at some of my trauma. I don't know if it's because of the way I said it. Sometimes I deal with like traumatic things with humor. So maybe he was like, tee, because I'm funny, I guess. But when I opened up about some traumatic things, he laughed, and that really just... And then I told him about my BPD diagnosis, and he told me I was too normal to have BPD, or I seemed too normal. And that kind of, my sense of identity is very weird. I know I'm Alon. I know I'm not a girl. I know I like cats and I like horror. But a part of that, I don't really know what else or who else I am. I never had like a set plan for the future. Most of my goals for the future revolved around people. And obviously that is not healthy. I want to be my own person. But that's how it was for a long time. And then at the beginning of this year, I started my new job, which was it was big for me because I was unemployed for, I'd say, like all my life. I did volunteer work, but it wasn't really employment. And 1 month, I went out more than I had in like, I'd say like but like 3 months last year. It was a big change because I was actually leaving my room in my house to do something, and I was working. And then during that time, I tried to stop smoking again. And then I stopped for like 2 months, and then I fell back into the habit because I started earning my own money, and I was like, okay, well, might as well spend it on something I want. Not a smart decision. Since the last time I made the video of me throwing out my pen, I haven't smoked. And I'd say it's for the best. My moods are very wishy-washy right now, but if I were to have been smoking currently, I think it would have been way more amplified and worse. So mania is like, I don't know. It's like I was in denial. I had like sunglasses on throughout those weeks. Like I knew what was happening, but I didn't really address it. I didn't really think it was as bad for me as it actually was. I felt like I could just snap out of it at any moment, but I wasn't able to, very apparently. There were moments that I would like delete the accounts I was talking to people on, or I would, try to get clean from hurting myself. And then I would just fall back into the loop. And it was a loop of denial, self-loathing, guilt, and then just like, it's okay, in the future things will get better. Everything will get better, so I can just, cope how I am right now. Apart from that, I was also taking testosterone, which testosterone's, it's a hormone, so it definitely affects your moods and your sex drive and all that. Sorry, I was just reading a message I got. And then after the initial breakup, I was really distressed, understandably so, because not only did I hurt the love of my life and fed into his insecurities, I felt unreasonably abandoned because he left me, and I don't blame him for leaving me, but I was just, it was just difficult. So I split on him, and when I split on someone, in my head it's like, okay, how can I make this person seem like they were never really good for me, so I can just not miss them, not want them. But that's not the reality, like I've been splitting recently because, these past few videos I've explained that our contact has been on and off. And I keep trying to block his accounts, and then I keep falling into the habit of unblocking and just, looking because I'm curious. I deleted Instagram, Reddit. I haven't really been checking Spotify because, I don't know, even listening to music now just triggers me, unfortunately. And yeah, I'm just trying to take these measures to just get these triggers away from me, so I don't, because I know when I split, I say hurtful things and I word things, or when I'm very like emotional, I say things in the moment that just, aren't well worded or said without much afterthought and stuff. And it's only after the fact that I realize how it can negatively affect someone that I'm like, wow, I'm kind of a piece of shit. And these few weeks have been really, they've been a lot for me, and I'm sure for him as well. some part of me held like, I don't know, I was just upset that he didn't have bad intentions at all. And I know that no matter what, he's not a malicious person, regardless of how I feel in the moment. He only wanted to love me. Haven't cried in one of these videos in a while. By a while, I mean like a few days, but if that even. It's just difficult accepting things, you know? Trying not to cry. I have somewhere to be after this. Because I very much clearly love him. I don't know if he loves me. I'm sure, like, maybe I've killed that love by now. It's difficult for me to move on. Like, I'm already crying, Brad. I just did my makeup. I have concealer and it's gonna get fucked. But, yeah, it's difficult for me to move on. And, you know, I'm not saying, Luna, don't you even dare. Oh my goodness. She jumped on the table. I'm impressed, honestly. I thought she would knock down all the photo frames. But I forgot what I was saying. But yeah, I love him a lot, and it's hard to just not keep checking on his accounts or seeing if he messaged me back. Because I really, I really want to talk to him. But at this very moment, with the way I am and with the way he's currently feeling, it's best that we don't talk. I'm giving myself until the end of this month to see how I feel, if I've progressed a bit more, become more stable. I've been taking my mood stabilizers. I started off at 50 milligrams. Now I'm at 200 milligrams, if that says anything. I don't know if they're helping. Well, they do help. My mania is a bit more tamed. My last, manic episode was a few months ago when I impulsively hooked up with a guy that I met online. Do not do that, guys. That's very dangerous. But I did it. I can't take it back. I regret it. But, nothing bad happened to me. So I don't know. My self-image is skewed. Sometimes I cut myself some slack, maybe too much slack. And sometimes I just don't like myself. Sometimes I see myself as the worst person ever. Other times I'm like, there are a lot of factors that contribute to your behavior now. You gotta come from a place of understanding, gotta learn to love yourself. But it's definitely a process I'm still learning, because I don't know, it's easier said than done. But yeah, splitting on my ex, I feel jealousy. Sometimes I feel like I'm holding the way he's recovering and trying to process things against him, because it can be very triggering for me, but also he deserves clarity. I wronged him. Regardless of the stuff I was going through and the stuff that I didn't tell anyone, I hurt him. So he deserves that clarity. And sometimes I feel like, you know, why didn't you do it when we were, you know, why didn't you research more about bipolar and mania and BPD and stuff while we were together? But I never really talked much about it because I felt like a burden opening up to people, which is why no one really, well, not really, no one knew of my struggles. And it felt difficult to open up to him sometimes because I never found the right time. And I felt like I said, I didn't want to be a burden to anyone, to my friends, to my mother, to him. And that's one of my biggest regrets